Hi there, Corona TV viewers. I'm Johnny Damon.
You're my bobblehead Joel today, just nod up and down if you agree. Welcome to the show, Mitch Joel. How are you?
Happy birthday to you.
And just look at those washboard abs.
I know, right? Oh yeah, this is the fittest I've ever been in my life, you know.
Happy birthday from Johnny Damon.
First of all, let's just do the elbow bump. Welcome everybody to CoronaCocktails. This is not CoronaTV anymore. It is CoronaCocktails, and I have a very special guest, the Maestro, I'm calling him, because he is a maestro, Mr. Jay Baer.
It's a great honor, Mr. Jaffe. It's always nice to be with you here on CoronaCocktails. Thanks for doing this, too. It's a real service to the community.
You're very welcome.
I am sort of the second banana here. You can be the
big banana.
Yes.
I decided to send you a Facebook message, but I found out that the last text or message I sent you was in 2015, and it reads as follows: James Franco is sucking ass.
Oh, I remember that day. You didn't have to tell me the date. I remember that. I remember that event. I've never seen anybody clear a ballroom in a non-fire situation like James Franco did that night.
And so I'm there, and I just saw this ballroom with maybe 3,500 people be reduced to 50 people. Pretty much just the influencers were left because we felt
based
bad.
on content.
Yeah, and then there was a tweet, the best tweet of the lot. It said, "How to clear a ballroom of 3,500 people in 30 minutes, hashtag you've been Franco'd." So this is CoronaCocktails, but we're not drinking that, are we? What are we drinking tonight?
What are you drinking? You've got a fancy pants cocktail there.
Yeah, I'm going to just stick with what I've been having at every CoronaCocktails, which is my 1995 Glen Rothes. And, you know, I went for a 4.5-mile run on an empty, and I'm drinking on an empty stomach. So what could go wrong? As I pour and as I toast to you and your health, and quite literally to your health.
Yeah.
What are you drinking? And let's say
I have more for hydration. I have a Bell's Two-Hearted Ale, which is regarded by some as the highest rated India Pale Ale in the country on REWIRE.com and other sites. But that's more just for secondary. My actual cocktail that I brought to the show is a authentic ancestral mezcal. They sell mezcal in the plastic water bottles when you get it from the distiller. This is from a Maestro mezcalia in San Miguel de Manero in Jalisco, actually signed by the maker. And this happens to be a Pachuga, which is a celebration mezcal, only made for holidays or special occasions. This one was actually made for Christmas Eve for his family over last Christmas. Pachuga means breast in Spanish, and it's called Pachuga because when they distill special celebration mezcals second time, they hang a breast in the still, in this case, a breast of a wild turkey, and then they put in the bottom of the still, in this case, wild strawberries and other wild fruits from that region of Mexico. It is delicious. And then classically, you drink mezcal out of these little bowls. This one happens to be glass. Many of them are made out of wood, but this one looks kind of fancy and is easy to clean. This is like a liquid campfire in your mouth with a little bit of a strawberry and turkey flavor to it, which I know sounds probably terrible, but it is spectacular. I'm going to set that up, and I'm going to toast to you, Joseph Jaffe, and to all of you out there on CoronaCocktails. Cheers.
Cheers. Now, what did we learn from that? What we learned from that is Jay Baer is a fantastic storyteller. What we also learned is that he's a complete liar because it's nothing but water. I'm just kidding. It's not water, or maybe this is mezcal as well.
Maybe it's mezcal. Here's the thing. This is bad news for so many people. And we are comparatively so incredibly blessed and fortunate, as are many of our viewers here this evening. But it's also true that in every great calamity comes great innovation. It is the nature of the human spirit. And so there are going to be a tremendous number of people who invent new companies, who invent new products, who invent new circumstances, who ultimately turn this into a positive, at least for themselves and their loved ones. And that's interesting to see. And it always happens that way. In fact, do you know Ahava Leibtag? She's
I think so.
Terrific, brilliant content marketing strategist, does almost exclusively work in healthcare, does a lot of work for hospitals, speaks at some of the content marketing conferences. Great. Her son, 13 years old, is an industrious young chap, taught himself how to use a 3D printer and make those, I guess they're called Corona hooks or something like that, the kind of hook-shaped device that you can then use to grab a door handle or touch a pin pad or hit an elevator button, so you don't have to actually touch it with your hand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen them advertised. Yeah, exactly.
And so he's like, I'm just going to make that out of plastic or whatever using a 3D printer. So figured out how to do it, started selling them. I bought 10 of them for friends and family. Kid figured it out from like, oh, this is a good idea, to I'm selling them in 5 days. You know, it's just,
and they kind of look like keys as well. They're quite brilliant, actually.
Yes,
because
it's great.
You can pull, you can push, you can turn.
Absolutely, right.
But what does the world come to that we even need that product? But you know,
well, so, I mean, so many products, right? I mean, you know, like friends of mine on a distillery, and they're making, you know, like so many others are. I mean, they're making hand sanitizer like it's going out of style, right? They're making thousands of gallons of hand sanitizer a week. Like that wasn't a business until recently.
And now it is. Something that we're going through in my family. My youngest it goes to summer camp, sleepaway camp. And his camp is the only camp that is open. In fact, on the day that most of them said we're not opening, our camp said we're open. And they sent a long, detailed, lengthy email.
Why and how and yeah.
And I think that was a decisiveness. That was a decisive position in the affirmative, whereas most had taken a decisive position in the negative. And I thought to myself, well, on one hand, right, this is the thing about leadership, Jay. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Sometimes whatever decision you make, you're going to be criticized, certainly by one side versus the other. But I'm thinking to myself, for the camps that closed, can they now backtrack or stumble back into opening? And for the camp that stayed open, what happens if they need to close? Which is better? Right. Which is worse? That's
the calculus, right? Do you want to be optimistic and potentially wrong, or pessimistic and potentially put yourself out of business? That's a Scylla and Charybdis situation right there.
My follow-up to that would be, in these moments of complete uncertainty and zero precedent, vulnerability is important. Honesty is important. And I think maybe there's a combination of do the right thing that you believe is the right thing, but also be honest about the fact that you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. And that's something that just corporations, I think, Jay, they're just continuing to struggle to be able to say, yeah, when they say we're in this together, we're all in this together, I don't think they're including themselves really. Or if they are, they're very guarded.
Well, and I just, I agree. And this notion of making declarations right now seems, I guess I'm glad some people have certainty, but I am paid to know answers and I don't have any certainty. Notre Dame University, or University of Notre Dame, I think it is, UND, not too far from here, 3 hours up the road, 4 hours, just said on Friday, they're opening August 10th, kids are coming back. Game on, right? Major American university, well-regarded university. That is 4 days after the entire California State University system, which is the largest university system in America, 500,000 students said, we're all virtual in the fall. Somebody's wrong. You know what I mean? And it's just so crazy to me. I've never seen anything like that in my career, certainly in business, and even as a person on this planet, where you have just like manifestly different opinions using presumably the same data set and saying, nope, we fundamentally disagree. We're going to do it totally different.
You said something, and it made me think of my two boys. My older son points a finger at my younger son and says, he did it. And then my younger son looks at my older son and goes, he did it. Clearly someone's lying.
Yeah.
And so like when you spoke about this idea of someone's wrong, it's so true. And maybe both sides are wrong and maybe both sides are right. And so that's the line you know, we strap. Mr. Jay Baer, I have to ask you a very serious question because
Okay,
it's
I'm
such
ready.
a serious conversation. How do you hug your haters in a global pandemic?
Oh, it's more
How do you
important
do
than
it?
ever. It's more important than ever. So now, right now, when the whole world is in flames, metaphorically, you've got to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And not just once, I mean twice. If somebody yells at you, sorry you're having a bad day. I've been having bad days too. How can we help you? Right? This is the time when humanity, compassion, kindness, and empathy will have a material impact on your business. I'll say it this way, and I've said this on a couple other shows over the last month or so, and I really believe this. This isn't just sloganeering. I believe for a lot of organizations, how they handle themselves and their customers and their business as we reopen in this time of uncertainty, how you handle your customers over the next 5 weeks will have a significant impact on your success over the next 5 years. And I really believe that to be true. And that has to be rooted in empathy. I don't care if your customer is off the rails. This is not the time to push back. The more upset they are, the nicer you are. That's the hug the hater system, right? So you know, the mirroring tactic in sales. If somebody talks very slowly, you talk very slowly. If they like skiing, you like skiing. Hug your haters is that, but in a fun house, right? So if the customer's mad, you're super, super nice, right? And so you basically flip the script on them and it disarms them, and it's actually very effective.
But this idea of hug your haters, I once wrote a blog post and I said, embrace hate. And what I meant by that, obviously I qualified it, which is I used the example of Crocs. The most butt ugly shoe ever created, bar none. It's not even a debate. But ultimately, we have to get people to care, to feel something. Indifference, apathy is the thing that will kill us all.
Yep.
And the way I always say it is when somebody says you suck and I hate you, they're basically just saying I love you. I just want you to work a little bit harder to earn that love. I always love being treated to a Jay Baer masterclass. Jay, I'm humbled by your presence and your friendship, and let's head over to the Zoom room.
We've had some, I'll say, intimate experiences in these Zoom events, and yes, I know it's not the same as like having Jay sitting on the edge of the stage and me being able to, you know, converse with him. But under the circumstances, I'm not willing to risk my life to meet him in person.
Yeah, but
nothing personal or anything.
Remember that there's a COVID component to it, but then there's also this belief. I'm just so loving myself right now.
You're still a little red, though.
Well, I don't care, but I still like the floating head. I'll work on the red. But the point is, look, if you are a brilliant presenter like Jay is,
right,
then it's different. But most people are not. Most people are not so dynamic that you are like, I had to see them on stage in person to jump up and down, to run around, to make the jokes, to go off script, or at least make me feel like they went off script, but they really were completely on script. And so when it's a performance, that's different. When it's some dude just, you know, giving a presentation and being a talking head, that's something else. But it's something to think about.
Well, I think that the, you know, it's taking away. Oh, we missed. Oh, gee. Nice.
What's it? Is it a disco now?
Yeah, it's the after party. So it's now we go with the flashing.
And it's funny because earlier in the show you made some comment about you know, some group of people sat around and made a decision that was a good choice, and I forgot what it was, right? But somebody decided that those lights in your office was a good choice.
It can be a good choice depending on how you set it up. That's not how to do
my
it,
God! And it's remote control. I missed that.
All right.
On the topic of live versus recorded, I'm getting my master's right now for experience design, and there are 0 online meeting times for the professorial that you're used to stand in front of the class and do it. Everything is either pre-recorded or there's transcripts.
Yeah.
And the only class time we have with the professor, adjunct, whoever it is just like this. It's just bring your questions, let's talk about stuff. But there's zero.
And do you find that better or worse?
So much better. I mean, for me personally, and I don't watch the videos, I read the transcripts because it's so much quicker to skim through that.
Yeah. My son, my daughter's out of school for the semester. My son is at trimesters at Drexel, so he still has another month. But he hates the lectures on Zoom.
Yeah.
But he loves interactivity because he's a super shy kid, which I know seems weird that he's my kid, but he's super duper shy and hates like going to office hours and sitting in somebody's office and talking. Like he just doesn't like that. But on Zoom is like, hey, I got a question, whatever. And so the ability to interact with professors is actually better now than it was on campus.
And I've done it both ways. For my MBA, I had a few online courses, and it was 3 hours of lecture, and those nights are just gruesome.
Nobody's that good, especially somebody teaching a class.
Yeah.
And by the way, and look, I experienced this. I'm teaching at West Virginia University online. It's hard to want to be the Robin Williams, captain, my captain, be that inspirational teacher, and not be perceived by your students as being full of shit and basically like trying to like make it all about you.
Trying a little too hard. Yeah, it's interesting.
And that's the hardest part, right? The hardest part.
Yeah, a keynote is not a lecture, right? And vice versa.
Exactly, but it's moving. It's moving, and I don't think we're going back to the old way. And I think
I don't think so either.
Colleges are in big
trouble
if they don't, because they're all built and based on legacy and incumbency and the way things have been done, and so there's going to be huge opportunity for disruption and innovation in this space.